Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So lots of work on these two guys here today, primarily on those two, although we did manage to work a little bit on a couple other cars. So why don't we go ahead and start with the gorgeous green 68 one family Carmen Ghia. So Rafa worked on this beauty today and just kind of did a lot of little random things. For one, he went ahead and put in the screens that go behind the grill. So you're all used to seeing the grills that go here that have like 4 bars or so on them and like an aluminum trim around them. So that's what goes behind them. Anyway, so went ahead and put those on. And let's see here. I think he put on taillight housings and wired those up. There you go. I think they even have bulbs in them. Yeah, he went ahead and put bulbs in them. So yeah, some wiring, some mechanical type stuff like that. I think he spent a lot of time as well prepping things, and he started reassembling the wiper assembly, so the motor and the frame and all that stuff. I think he got it about done, except we needed to order new wiper shafts, which are the parts that come through the body that the actual arms attached to. Those are called the shafts. So a lot of times they're wore out and or frozen and or otherwise unsalvageable, and new ones are available, so kind of a no-brainer. So yeah, I think once those shafts come in, you can go ahead and put that in. We did also today place a couple relatively massive orders for this car. So let's see here. West Coast Metric, actually super handy. And I don't even know that I knew that they had that. They have a complete body seal kit for these cars. Literally like everything, all the seals for the windows, for the headlights, for the badge on the front, like pretty much every seal on the outside of these cars comes in the kit. Because these cars have a lot of seals on them, guys. These things probably have like, I don't know, like twice as many pieces of rubber on them compared to, say, a Beetle. There's just, even just the windows alone, there's just so many pieces of rubber and various like seals and stuff that I was actually very happy when I started searching for some seals on West Coast Metric's website, which their website, by the way, is pretty good, and happened to notice that they have a kit specific to this Ghia and many other cars for sure. But yeah, so that definitely streamlined the process as far as ordering seals for the car. And then ordered a bunch of stuff from Airhead Parts, who of course are the guys that specialize. I mean, they have parts for all air-cooled Volkswagens, but they kind of sort of specialize in Carmen Ghias. Anyway, so from them ordered a bunch of stuff too that I guess you can get elsewhere, but like the dash pad and the wood grain bit that goes there, which, by the way, I think they said they were out of those two things, so I may have to source those elsewhere. But yeah, so ordered a bunch of Ghia specific stuff from those guys for this car as well. And so yeah, big order today, for a couple big orders for this one today. That's really, when those things come in, is going to start let us start making a lot of progress on this car as far as putting it together. So yeah, Rafa spent some time too today on this one, working on the various pieces of molding and trim and stuff that go around the windows. There's a lot of parts that go into putting the windows on these cars. Again, way more than a Beetle. And lots of aluminum trim pieces and seals that go between the trim and under the trim, and just seals everywhere, trim everywhere. Super complicated, these cars. Much harder and more time consuming to put together than a Beetle. But anyway, yeah, so that was pretty much Rafa's day, was working on this one and starting to pick up some steam on it again. So What about me? I started my day off with this little bad boy here, the 60 Baja Bug, and went ahead and bled the brakes on it today, and with Rafa's help, and we got good results. So I don't know, we kind of had a string of bad experiences bleeding brakes lately, where we kept getting a bunch of bad master cylinders, and yeah, but this time seemed to get a good master cylinder. They bled fine, you know, plenty of pressure at the bleeder valves at the various wheel cylinders, and in the front, the calipers got good pressure, got them bled out pretty good, and yeah, brakes feel good. So once I got the brakes all bled, I went ahead and did a front end alignment. So pretty much the only thing you can do on the front end alignment wise of a Beetle, really, is practically speaking, is just the toe. So toe in, toe out, etc. So if you recall, a few episodes ago, we actually replaced both tie rods because they were pretty shot. And so, of course, anytime you do that, you're pretty much starting from scratch as far as an alignment is concerned. I did previously had the steering wheel pretty centered and was pretty accurate with that. So then pretty much at that point, you're just going and adjusting the toe in and toe out. And I had eyeballed it, and I think initially I had, too much toe in. I think I had like half an inch of toe in or something like that. So when I adjusted that and got it now, I think it's like an 1/8 inch or maybe 3/16 of toe in, and went ahead and straightened out the steering wheel. So yeah, that's all good. But yeah, guys, I took this thing for a test drive, and guys, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's got a little header on it, and it's got the dual ICT carbs on it. It is a dual port motor. Have no idea what size it is or anything, but holy crap, guys, this little thing scoots. I kind of feel like it might be bigger than a stock motor, or maybe it's just that the car is a bit on the light side, because, you know, a lot of sheet metal is gone by, you know, virtue of converting it into a Baja Bug. But I don't know. This motor kind of rips, guys. So I have a feeling maybe it's not just a 1600 dual port. Not sure. Well, I mean, again, obviously it's got a little header and the little dual carbs, but it feels like more than that to me. So I suspect maybe that there's some trickery going on inside this motor, as far as maybe a little bit bigger pistons and cylinders, maybe a little bit more compression. I don't know, but it's pretty fun to drive. The only thing I noticed is that on the kind of the low end of the scale, like low throttle positions, was a bit sputtery, and I don't know, just not super happy with how it feels, kind of on the low speed side of the circuit. And one thing that I noticed was, when I was kind of playing around with it, was that well, what I had noticed before, that the two carburetors are not a match set. I mean, they're both ICTs, but if you just kind of look at them, like this one compared to that one, this one looks a lot newer. And so at some point it seems like this one here probably was replaced, and maybe this was one that's been on the car for a lot longer. But one thing that I noticed, and I don't know that you'll be able to see this, is this shaft here seems to have, and it's probably not really gonna show up on the video, but when you start cracking the throttle, at least in person, you can see this shaft kind of moving, you know, like say that way if I'm pulling side to side. So I think that this carburetor may be a bit wore out as far as the bushings are concerned. So I did kind of play around a little bit with the linkage, because it seemed like, maybe because of that little bit of slop in there, that when you would start cracking the throttle open, that initially this side you would just get this like a little bit of side to side movement, and while the other side would start, you know, opening, and then this side would start catching up after that slop in there was taken away. And then So it was running kind of uneven, and I think that's probably what was going on. So I did adjust the throttle to kind of compensate for that. I haven't driven it since then, other than just from the parking lot into the shop. But I don't know. We'll see. I need to drive the car some more and kind of check this carburetor out. I may recommend to the owner that we just replace both of these carburetors as a new set. Because again, the one is war, and the other one, you know, I don't know how old it is or whatever, but kind of like with brakes and stuff, I wouldn't necessarily just replace one of these carburetors without replacing the pair. So I don't know, we'll see. I need to drive it some more and see if I was able to sort of tune out that little bit of slop here. The other potential problem with having that, though, is you could have a vacuum leak around that shaft, in which case it may be hard to get it to run really smooth, especially again kind of on the low speed side. So I don't know, we'll see, guys. I need to drive this thing some more, and I'll probably get some like starter fluid or something, and while it's running kind of spray it around the shaft of the carburetor and see if I can detect any changes in the idle, which is one way to find a vacuum leak. So I don't know, we'll see. But that having been said, yeah, once you get into this thing a little bit, yeah, it pulls really good, and the brakes feel good now. I was able to pretty much like lock them up without too much effort. So yeah, good brakes now. I think very safe in regards to that. Maybe a little bit more tuning here, and then yeah, I'll be having a conversation here with the owner soon about what maybe the next steps we will do, what those will be. So that's pretty much where we left off with that one today. I don't really have any show and tell per se, but Jacob and I both worked quite a bit today on the 67 Beetle. So Jacob did a lot of sandblasting. Again, the 67 Beetle, formerly white, now Java green. A lot of sandblasting today done by Jacob on the door mechanisms and stuff like that in preparation for zinc plating those things. And then likewise, I started preparing some of the hardware and so on for its front suspension and steering, so that when the pan comes in, when the chassis comes in from Washburn's Metal, that we're pretty much will be ready to start assembling the suspension and stuff. So lots of powder coating already done on the front and rear suspension. Transmission is in our container. And yeah, so now just kind of going through the hardware so that all that stuff is ready to also bolt on when the chassis comes back, maybe in a couple weeks. So I think that's it today, guys. I did earlier this morning film a video showing the pop top and headliner that we did on the green bus that was in the Brazilian bus. So I will splice that in right at this point. So with that, go ahead and keep watching, and you'll see that. And then I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. So here's the new tent, I guess you'd call it, for lack of a better word, that we just finished on this Brazilian pop-up top bus. So when it came in, the top that was on it was basically like tore, ripped in a lot of areas, and the way that it was attached was also really poorly done. So basically the canvas just was velcroed on this inner lip right here that you can see. And so pretty much what would happen is any moisture, if they were camping and had this up and it rained, any moisture would just come right between the outside of the canvas and through the velcro and into the car. Just really not a very smart setup the way it was. Anyway, that's how the customer bought it. So she wanted us to put in a new canvas in it, and so this is basically what we did, is attached it what I would call properly, where the canvas comes down, and then there's strips that we made that go around the edge here that seal it to basically like the outside of the body here. So let's take a look real quick. So now you can see any water that come down here would just go off the outside of this thing. So that was that. And then the headliner that was in there was peeling up back here, and it had, you know, kind of shrunk over age, so we weren't able to pull it back and reattach it. So we also went ahead and put a new headliner up here in the front. And yeah, the windows, pretty much we just put in covers on those that are Velcroed from the bottom, so you don't really need anything to attach them. You can just pull them down and expose them like that, as far as having the windows open. And then when you close them, of course, just re-Velcro them back up there. So that's it. This one should be leaving today. So just a little upholstery. Well, I say little. Took us a while by the time we figured all this out and fabricated all these strips and stuff which weren't there, and kind of figured out how to attach it better. Same thing up here. There's another strip up here where this is attached. Before it was just Velcroed. So there you go.